I wanted to talk to you today about one of my favorite ideas that I've ever come up with. And that was, it's just 6 words long. And it was when Joe Vitale, my friend he was in The Secret. You might have seen him in The Secret, the movie. He was a copywriter and a marketer before that. And he had just written a book on P.T. Barnum. And this was a book about P.T. Barnum from a marketing point of view. It was about what a marketing genius P.T. Barnum was. And he really was. He's known for, circus and sideshows and things like that. But he really revolutionized entertainment in his time. And he did it through marketing, through getting people to come to his American Museum, which, in addition to having historical curiosities, had some of the first legitimate theater in New York, which used to be something no self-respecting people would ever go to. Um, he brought an opera singer over from Europe, Jenny Lind. And then of course, in his later years, he's famous for, the Barnum and Bailey Circus. So Joe's book kind of talked about his life, what he did from a marketing point of view, because of course there's a lot of lessons in how P.T. Barnum marketed all his ideas and all his products. And he said, "Dave, I need a title for this book." And I was like, "Joe, titles are really hard. A great title is really hard to come up with, but let me see what I can do." And so I started thinking about it. And of course, and one of the reasons I want to tell you about this is so you can see, because at first I didn't know what to come up with, but then I remembered, that I have a systematic approach for creativity that I've developed over the years. So I went about it in a more systematic way. I started to think, well, okay. And this is one of my favorite questions that an art director I used to ask all the time. He says, "What does this make you think of?" Right? What does P.T. Barnum make you think of? So of course you think of circus. So maybe there's a problem. Maybe there's a title about marketing is a 3-ring circus or something like that, or how to tame the marketing circus, or walking the tightrope of marketing with P.T. Barnum. So I started coming up with ideas like that, trying to think of things that related to what I knew about P.T. Barnum. Because that's one of the great ways to come up with creative ideas is how do you kind of put something together? Okay, P.T. Barnum, marketing, how do these things go together? What are the overlaps? And I just couldn't think of anything. All the associations of P.T. Barnum, sideshow, marketing as a sideshow, circus, attendance at the circus, started to kind of systematically to go through, everything that I knew about P.T. Barnum, about circuses, about sideshows. And then I started thinking about, okay, well, what's P.T. Barnum famous for? And of course, one of the things that he's famous for is saying there's a sucker born every minute. And so I started thinking, well, what can I do with that? How can I use that? What else could be born every minute, or what could happen every minute? Or, how do I just kind of reference that a little bit? And finally, I came up with the idea that Joe says in his acknowledgments, where he thanks me in the beginning of the book, was $1 million title for his book, and that is, there's a customer born every minute. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what makes this such a good idea, such a good title for this book. First of all, it's attached to something familiar. It's a play on there's a sucker born every minute to there's a customer born every minute. So that gives people a little bit of delight, a little bit of fun. They recognize that it's a play on that title that everyone is so familiar with. So that attracts attention. that makes people feel like, oh, this is going to be fun. This is going to be interesting. The other thing that makes it such a good idea is that combines with the fact that it's a really relevant title for the book. It's not a stretch. It's not forced. There's a customer born every minute is such a good way to say that this book will help you get more customers, which is ultimately what marketing is all about. So I think that's the reason why this title works so well, is that combination of it's got that benefit built into it. There's a customer born every minute. That's what people really want. It makes it really clear what this book's going to be about. And the delight, the enjoyment of the play on words and people recognizing that play on words. A little footnote to this is that one of the things I learned from Joe is that P.T. Barnum never said there's a sucker born every minute, even though he's famous for that. He actually had a lot of respect for the intelligence of his audience and for giving his audience what they wanted. Even when he tricked people, he used to say, well, people like a little humbug every now and then. They like to be tricked. They're entertained by that. And he very much believed in giving people his money worth, but his money's worth, their money's worth. So even though it wasn't something he said, it was something he was known for, and I think made a great title for Joe's book. It became a best-selling book. I like to think that was totally due to the title, but it's mainly because it's a great book and gives you a lot of really good marketing insights through the very interesting story of P.T. Barnum. So get the book and try to think about creativity in a systematic way like that. Go through what you know about whatever it is that you're trying to come up with an idea for, the product, what's related to it, what does it make you think of, what's associated with it, and hopefully a great idea, a great title will come to you.